Hey guys, what's poppin'?
What's poppin', Colonels?
And welcome back to my ISCON Corner. I am Jem, your typical college student gamer that follows the saying, "Do tomorrow, do tomorrow."
And I'm Amor, also a college student, and I say to always smile because you either warm their hearts or annoy them. Either way, you win.
And we are here again with another bag of popcorn. Welcome back to those who've watched the previous episode, and welcome to the new viewers and kernels.
In the last episode, we caught up with each other. Jem, we had quite a fun conversation where we touched bases, figure out where we're each at in our everyday lives. We shared our lessons, our fears, our hopes for the future, and we even heard some wise words of advice and wisdom from our elders. And this week, we are going to talk about relationships and the importance of community. Just a disclaimer though, we won't be talking about romantic relationships for this episode. I think that's for another conversation. Jem, we all know what relationships mean, but what do we mean when we say community?
Well, with a quick Google search a while ago, it told me that a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. But that's just the technical definition. We don't want to bore you with the specifics. But more than that, these are the people you run to when you feel down. Who uplift you, who comfort you, who encourage you to keep going. They can be your friends, family, classmates, blockmates, etc. and etc.
I also find that your neighbors can be your community as well as the people you work with, who you have projects with, who you have things in common with. Like these are the people you run to when you need help, when you need comfort, when you need some upliftment. And Jem, since you're the one who gave us a definition of community and since you seem to know so much about it, why don't you start? What are the communities you're a part of?
Well, actually, I think I'm a part of a lot of communities. Let's start with the entertainment sector. Wow, gaming communities, such as the pages in social media, or maybe the groups that I hang out with, and these people actually post about videos, funny videos, or maybe some sick shots that happened in game, or we post about information on what's there to come in the next patch of the game and stuff like that. I'm also part of some org communities in college where some we do things, our responsibilities, and we share our ideas so that we could achieve our goal. So some of my orgs would be related with sports. We send some videos of us taking shots, maybe in basketball, or doing our tricks in football. I also have a community wherein I help people with job hunting. People who actually just finished college and wanted to find a job this quarantine, which is pretty hard. And other communities such as where we welcome the newcomers into our college, and so on and so forth. How about you, Amor?
Wow, honestly, just listening to you, napagod ako. Like, how can you be a part of so many communities, Jam? The extrovert in you is being obvious right now. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this because I'm not really a part of a lot of communities, like besides people at home and my church community and some very close friends from school and church. And I'm not really a part of other communities. I think it's also because I'm still trying to figure out like who are exactly the kind of people I want to surround myself with. So maybe I'm still finding my tribe. It's like very challenged in a good way. Hearing you though, like seeing you be that active in the social sphere.
It's okay that you're not really part of a lot of communities. You could just stick to the group of people, or maybe even to one community that you're most comfortable with, so that you could show you could put in all of your energy and all of your colors into that community. And being in a community actually sounds great. For me, there's a lot of benefits when it comes to being in a community. These are the people that can keep you in check. so that these people have your back at times where you need people to talk to, or these may be the people that may become like a good distraction in your everyday life, so that you will be you would drift away a bit from what's happening, all the problems, all the stress from the world. It's more of like a break with them, so that you could have the time to enjoy with them. And going from enjoyment, it's more of entertainment in such, so that you could reach out to people, you could have fun, like with your friends, you tell jokes, you go stories. I even heard that some people even play or do role play, and that's one of the things I am actually interested in joining, or maybe doing later on. How about you? What do you think are the benefits, from having a community?
The main one for me is that these are the people who know me and who believe in me. And like these are the people who sometimes see things about myself that I can't. It can be, things that I need to fix with myself, flaws, or characteristics I need to change. But sometimes it's also people who see what I can do, who believe in me when I feel so down and doubt myself. That's really why I want that. I'm very selective about the people I keep around me, like the relationships I maintain. I want to keep quality relationships. It's like I really prefer having good friends over many friends. But
That's
another benefit is just you grow more as a person if you get to know more people, diba? It's like you're more exposed to um other experiences, other points of views, and you're just so you get to understand people more.
I understand. Like, when we get into a community, it's not just point and click and then you're already part of them. It's more of like building a relationship in that community,
Yeah.
with each individual person in there. And sometimes it's tiring. That's why it's okay talaga na you're a part of one, or if you have the capacity, you take on many. And not only that, for those who were upcoming high school or even college freshmen, or even starting a new school year, there was really a challenge in making new friends, especially at the start of the pandemic. Most especially if you're coming from an old school, going to a new school where you don't know anybody at all. You don't know the people, you don't know the environment, you don't know what's accepted, what's rejected, and stuff like that. What's the social norm? And sometimes the fear of no, not really the fear, it's more of you being shy to these people because you don't know if you're doing the stuff right, if you're
Yeah.
uh if you're accepted already. It's more of you gotta build the relationship with them. It's a really different experience compared to when you are in face to face. It's more engaging during face to face, and right now, due to that everything is online, you're pretty nervous on what to say because they're more on focus on listening to you, and if they're not really interested, they might just not listen to you or do something else while listening to you. They made you just basically background noise in a sense.
Yeah, it's like sometimes like there's no end. Like there's no middle in the spectrum when it comes to online settings. Like either everyone's attention is just on you, or you're just someone else in the background. I think also one of the benefits for the both of us is that when we started college, we didn't transfer to a new school, so we're not that worried about making new friends because we already knew people. But what do you think is something that the people coming into new schools, what do you think something they can do to meet to meet people beyond just their classmates, but other people from other batches, other schools? What can they do?
Well, there's only one thing to do there, and that's basically joining an org, and an org in the maybe in high school or college. It really is composed of people from different courses or maybe different sections that you share the same interest, you share the same ideals, or you share the same um objective on what you want to achieve inside the organization, and through this you're gonna build a relationship with them, and then sooner or later you're gonna be like, oh wait, I have a new friend, diba?
Jem, what about the people who are shy? I mean, as someone who's so outgoing, what's your advice for people like us who are scared to take that first step?
Huh. Well, that's where the extroverts in this world come in. I remember my friend telling me, Jer, why do you have so much introvert friends? And what I tell them is that extroverts are basically people that adopt introverts into their lives. It's more of like parang you force them to be with a friendship with you, but you still find a common ground where you're both comfortable with each other. It's just that if you're really shy on making the first move, um, you just wait for others to make the first move. You may even find some sort of small connection. But while you're waiting for that, you can just stick with the people you are with right now. The friends that you are with, and then you make kwento to them on what's happening. Or like you make kwento to them on how you can be friends with this person or this certain group, and they may even help you through that.
Ngayon ko lang naisip, that's actually so true. My closest friend from my school right now, I became friends with her because she invited me to sit beside her. So I'm like, okay, extroverts in this world, please adopt us. We need more of you in our lives. But I want to know though, it's like, what are the struggles that you have in this making relationships in the online setting? Because I don't think that you don't have them.
Um, hmm. There are some struggles, most especially that I kind of miss hanging out with my friends, but I also miss the fact that I get to meet with new people. But through that, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of charisma, it takes a lot of energy and social battery. And later on, for me, even though I'm a really extroverted person, I I get tired out, and biglang naging introvert ako bigla for a certain amount of time. Parang, oh, I need to talk to this guy for a group work, pero siya na mauna, nahihiya na ako. Parang ganun. It really changed me as a person. But at the same time, I'm still the extroverted person I am. Parang I just need to be charged in a way. I need alone time with me and my friends and stuff like that.
It's just very different. Like my idea, like hang out with my friends, pre-pandemic would honestly just be sitting down and having conversations, like similar to what we're having now. It might be either at the school cafeteria, or a Starbucks outside campus, or anywhere really in like under that big tree at school. But we would just sit down and talk. And honestly, I don't know how it happens, but whenever I have like introvert friend groups, we just keep on growing unexpectedly. We don't plan it, we don't invite more people, but it just happens. And I think that's one big thing that people have to do, is that don't stress about meeting new people, right? People are gonna come to you, and you will make friends. Don't worry too much about it. But as fun as it is to have friends around us and to have these reliable core community around us, there are times when we felt disconnected from friends, when we felt left out, very OP tayo, diba? Have you ever felt that?
Actually, yes, diba? Remember, I think I've touched this. I've touched about where I love to hang out with friends every day from the last episode. We call, we text with each other, and we play games all day. And even times we even watch movies. And whenever we eat, we turn on our videos. We eat with one another. But at the end of the day, most of the time kasi ako, I sleep last. and I still wake up earlier than my friends, and but at those times where I'm out with my friends, those are the times where I kind of feel alone and disconnected from the community. Like I feel like, oh, mag-isa lang ako right now. I have no one to go to, or like no one to be with, and I sort of like I miss my friends, and it really makes me feel sad. And then dagdagan mo pa ng mga sad songs dyan in the side. But through this, I find ways to cheer myself up, and maybe at the same time, like play a song, you play some instruments or play some games that would distract me until they're kind of back and stuff like that. How about you, Amor?
Honestly, I have a particular story that comes to mind. I think I was in this is in grade 7 and grade 8. I was the new girl in school sa province to. So it's like everyone knows everybody and I'm the girl from Manila. So didn't know anyone. Um, they were all friends with each other for years already. But somehow I was able to join a certain friend group. So these are the people who would hang out with me, who I would hang out with every time. But somehow a part of me still always felt left out, like I didn't really understand their conversations, or I wasn't interested really in all the things that they're interested in. And then one day, oh my goodness, I remember I came back to school after lunch break and I was approached by one of my classmates and told me, "Hey, Amor, by the way, I was just in our classroom and I heard these people trash talking about you." And I was like, I was, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I was so angry. I composed a very long text message and I sent it to all of them. And things just weren't the same after that. But yeah, gosh, high school years can be so dramatic. But sometimes it's not really, we don't lose friendships over such a dramatic way. Sometimes we lose them just because of distance or time, or just because we outgrow each other. I remember I was very close with my friends from grade 5 and grade 6, but because afterwards we switched schools, we moved places, we just lost touch. And it's not that we don't mean anything to each other anymore, but we just grew up to be different people already.
I actually relate to your story on how you're like the new girl in this school, and like you don't know anybody. And for me, coming from me, like you've heard that I'm a part of a lot of groups. I have a lot of friend groups. I'm part of a lot of communities. But my background in searching for this community that I fit in, it was, or like the history of me joining these groups of people that I am in right now was a really how do I say this, scary experience, very stressful experience, because me as a person, I'm really madaldal. I'm so talkative. Sometimes other people find me annoying, and whenever I join these types of whenever I try to fit into these types of groups, I later on, at the start, it feels all right, because they talk to me and I make cuento, I share what about my life, and then later on I feel like sometimes I'm kind of annoying to them, and then later on sasabihin na may sasabi na lang sa akin na, "Oh, Jer, parang you're kind of annoying down," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, sige, I'll just try to look for another group, I'll leave them alone kasi sila na yon, and I'm just gonna try to find a new group that I could hang out with." And through this, it's like more of like a cycle of between finding relationships and then go drifting away, finding a relationship, finding another group of friends again, and then drifting away from them. But then sooner or later, I come in contact with the right people, the people that would vibe with me, the people that like me, that respect me as a person, and then that's where I felt the sense of comfort. Oh, there are these types of communities that I don't belong in, and then there are other types of communities I don't belong in. But then at the same time, for when you were talking about when you were with your friends and sometimes you drift away with your other friends, I've actually had another I've had one of the similar experiences to that. And one of my friend groups, um we were actually solid since grade 9. And every day we would talk, every day um we would love to listen to each other. We would play games with one another. We would hang out in malls, in board game cafes, or we would study in the library and stuff like that. And this continued until maybe senior high school and stuff like that. But at the same time, even though we were in different sectors of the high school, we still kept in touch. But as soon as the pandemic happened, we started to fight a bit. We started to fight a bit because of problems, maybe yung isa hindi nagpaparamdam or yung isa hindi nakikisali sa games, and that led to us, drifting apart in a sort of way. And that led me to the position of finding more friends. And that's how I met a lot of people this quarantine. But at the same time, I did not give up on the old friend groups I had. I still made it. I still made the effort to keep in contact with them, and I made the effort to actually bridge the gap that we had. And now, goods na kami. Parang ganun. How about you, Amor?
I actually want to ask something muna though.
Sure.
And when you said na when someone told you that this certain friend group finds you annoying, your response was, okay, sige, maghanap na lang ako ng ibang group. And I find that so intriguing kasi a lot of people, including me, my response would be, okay, hindi na lang ako masyadong magsasalita. My and other people's response would be, okay, I'm going to conform more to fit into this friend group. Is this like conscious effort for you to not lose your individuality at the expense of joining groups? Or is it just like instinctive for you?
Wait, so are you like telling me like parang I'm trying to fit into groups?
No, it's like,
or like
how,
I'm trying to change myself to fit into
No.
groups, or
how is it a conscious effort for you to not try to fit in at the expense of losing yourself? Or is it just like instinctive for you?
Actually before, may kwento ako. Actually before, believe it or not, I was a really big introvert before grade 8 or before grade 9.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, I'm that type of kid who would just be in the corner, who would not talk to that much of people. And because I got kind of traumatized because in grade school, it's more of like you make friends, and then when you go into like a new section, you make another group of friends, and then the old friends that you had, they just drift away. So for me, that was kind of tiring in a sense, and through that, I was like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna be an introvert. I don't want to talk to people anymore. But then when I met my friends, like in grade 9 and stuff like that, it's more of like, oh, these people like me. And then that's where I started to bloom again as an extrovert and stuff like that. But then the time where I had a conscious effort is that one of my biggest problems when I was finding my group, when I was finding groups of people that I wanted to be in, is that I cared about my image to other people so much that it really bothered me to my inner core. It's more of like parang even minor judgments, like parang, oh, you're so fat, bro, or like, oh, you're so madaldal, and it really bothered me to a point na, oh, I don't want to be the person I am right now. But then I told myself one day na parang, oh, don't, you should not care that much on what people say to you, what people talk about you behind your back, and only care about those people who are close to you. And actually, it's easier said than done. it took me about 2 years. It took me about 2 years to transition from a guy who cared about a lot about his public image to people doesn't really who aren't really involved in his life to a person that only cares about, well, not really image, more of like who only fixes his personality for his own good in for a bunch of people that really cares and stays in his life so much. How about
Yeah,
you? Do you have like a similar experience, or is
not
it different?
not really. I think I just knew from the start whether or not I vibed with certain people. Um, it got to the point where because I became so picky with who I would hang out with. It came to a point where I was just by myself at school all the time. And one time I went to the faculty room at school because one of the teachers asked me to get something, maybe a lesson plan or a book. And then I don't think the teachers noticed that I went in. And then I have one of my teachers out of nowhere start talking. Hey, by the way, aren't you guys concerned about Amor because she's always alone? And then I was like, hi, I'm here. How do I react to this? And then I just tried to casually walk out the faculty room. And then she saw me. She's like, Amor, you're there. And then she gave me this 5-minute spiel about needing people in your life and making friends. And all this time I was like, how do I get out of here? But yeah, I just reached a point where I just became so selective about who I let into my life. And it was just natural for me to not care about what others thought about me. But I also reached the opposite extreme where any small comment about my close friends and the people I love could hurt me so much. So it's like we're approaching life from opposite ends of the spectrum, aren't we?
True. But like, I'm genuinely curious on how do you transition from being like more of like what you said, by, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but like more of like alone, to finding your friends that you have right now.
One big factor is that I moved. I moved again, so I'm no longer. This was in the province when this happened, so I
So like
moved back
another
to
fresh
Manila.
start.
Yeah, it's another fresh start, but also I think I just grew older over the years, and I learned what my interests are. I got to know myself more. That way, I also got to know more what kind of friends I want in my life. So it takes time. It takes years of work, but it's gonna happen. And one thing I learned, and you also shared this with your experience, is that no relationship is ever worth losing yourself for. So it doesn't matter if it's friends, if it's with work, even if it's a romantic relationship. If you're already starting to lose yourself at the expense of that relationship, leave it. It's not worth it.
That's true. That's one of my more of like virtues right now, that are ideals that I hold right now whenever um that I make friends, is that it's never worth it to change yourself just for their sake.
Yeah.
It's always better to change yourself to be better than the person who you were before. It's for your own good and not for them, because you're being yourself, not for other people. Well, yes, you can be yourself so that you could help other people, but you be yourself so that you could be the better version of yourself, in a sense like that, if you get me.
Yeah.
And through this, when we be ourselves, when we show our true colors, when we show our true colors to the world, we attract the people we vibe with. We attract the people that want to make friends with us, and they will potentially stay for a long time, or like even forever. And through this, it is easy, and through And through this, if you achieve this in a sense, it's easier to make friends, most especially, in the face-to-face setting. But then, we're in the online setting right now, and it's really hard, to make friends and friendships or relationships online. Would you care to share on how you made friends online?
I have one very big made a friend online moment, but it's actually pre-pandemic. This was way back in 2017, and I joined a webinar for writers. So this is a global webinar. I don't even know how I got the invitation, but it's from people all over the world. And for this event, I think they had 4 different time schedules because, time zone differences. And I joined one, and during the Q&A session, someone asked the chat, like, do you want to form an online group so we can talk to each other more there, encouraging each other in writing there? And I was hesitant, but I sent my email to the chat. And so this group was formed. And all of them were adults, as in parents' age, working people. But there was this girl who was there. She was my age. We're only a few months apart, but instantly we clicked. And up till now, she is my best friend in the world. And you know what's crazy
What?
is that she actually lives in Australia.
Wow.
We have never met in
Far.
person, but until now, we're each other's closest friends. Like, our conversations with each other could last for hours on end. And, it's so important because, like, we hold the same values in life, similar interests, similar struggles. We also had struggles with friendships before we became friends with each other. And it's just, the world is big, yes, but technology makes it more reachable. So, you can meet people online. But I want to share this though. You're not going to meet friends if you just lock yourself up in your room and watch YouTube. You actually have to put yourself out there and put yourself in situations where you can meet people. Like Jem said, you can join orgs, you can join, seminars, you can attend lessons, you can do anything that interacts with people. You could even join study rooms and meet people there. You're not gonna make friends if you won't put yourself out there. You actually have to do the work.
That's actually true. And thank you for giving the viewers, sort of like a step-to-step guide. Not really, but like, some tips to actually help themselves go out of their personal space or their personal bubble. Because I've had stories of my friends who are, oh, Jem, what do I do to make friends? Because I'm so shy. I'm so scared that they would judge me. I'm so scared that they won't accept me. And I told them, well, it's really a painful process in a sense, where you have to deal with rejection but also with acceptance with people that you deal with, because we gotta take in the fact that we're not all equally the same. We're not the same in terms of our characteristics. We're not the same in terms of our vibe. We're not the same in terms of our interests, and so on and so forth. But one of the things that I gave him is that just be you. Like, tell the world what are your interests. Share it to people. Go to people that share the same interest in you. Find the common ground to where you could when you find the common ground with other people, then you start off from there and you build that base, and then you go forth, you go on and build that up and find more meaningful connections. And my time of making some friendships or relationships online, my experience would be that at the start of the pandemic, I was still eager. My social butterfly inside me is screaming that you gotta talk to new people. I'm like, oh, I need more people in my life, stuff like that, blah blah blah. I want more social social connections. So whenever I go into groups, I became that person yung like sobrang hindi man maingay, more of like very talkative. I lead the discussions. I I ano I it's not really call out people, but then like I help people connect with each other. So it's more of like I make connections with them, and I also help make uh make make them make connections with other people apart in that group. But then later on in life, well, not really later on in life, more like later on in the year, more like maybe earlier this year or later last year of 2020, it's more of like I I got drained out of my social battery, and it actually shocked me. I was like, what? I don't want to make that much friends anymore. I want to focus on myself, and it really shocked me to the core because knowing who I am as a person, and through this, what made me make more new friends without actually putting that much effort anymore would be that since I have friends right now, I asked them, "Yo, do you have any friends that you want to make pakilala me?" Wait, sorry. Do you have any friends that you want to introduce me to, or like do you have any friends that play this type of game? Tapos makikisali ako sa kanila, right? Makikisali ako sa kanila, and then later on we will find that common ground, like, oh, we like this, and then like parang, oh, they they like your attitude, or like they like your personality, or like they like how you the way you show your colors, and then you're starting to make that common ground, and then you're gonna start building off that common ground that you actually established with them. And through that I made more new friends that would talk to me every day, more friends that would share lunch with me, but video lang.
Yeah.
Video nga lang. Kung gusto mo, subuan pa nga kami through the video kami. But yeah, there's just it's not a one-sided thing where you have to reach out and be reached out to make friends. You can also rely on the friends that you have established right now to make more connections with other people. And that's one of the ways on where you can take advantage of your small or big network that you have created before already. So yeah, how about you?
I honestly I think that's it. Like that's all I have
Okay.
to say about making online friends. I just realized though when you said like you knowing yourself you were drained, right? Then I had a thought, what about those people who don't know themselves? Diba? Like we shared when we were younger. We didn't know ourselves yet, diba? We were still growing up. And that was when we made friendships that didn't last. Diba?
True.
But once you get to know yourself, you will be better at making friends. I have something to add there though, that you actually have to like yourself first. Because if you don't like yourself, other people won't like you either. It's just a fact of life. So while you're not yet there socializing, talking to people, having close relationships, develop your relationship with yourself. Like grow to love yourself, grow to like yourself more, and it's a part of making friends.
True, di ba sabi daw nga nila like parang, oh, before you could actually give love, you gotta love yourself first. It's more of like when you at the part where you start accepting yourself, that's the part where you're actually proud to show yourself to other people, and that's the stage wherein you could actually start making more genuine relationships. But then if you're in that stage, for me, if you're in that stage wherein you still don't know about yourself, you're still exploring, you're still finding yourself deep into that core, then you can balance. Then I hope that you could balance out everything, starting from first your friends that you have right now, and your academics and stuff like that. But when you have the free time, you gotta explore yourself. Like you gotta ask yourself like, oh, what are the things that actually amuses me? And then when you find that common ground. You go deeper into like why do I like this thing and stuff like that. Wow, naging psychology na to or something like that, you know. But then actually, yeah, for me it's more of like when you find what you love about yourself and why you love these things. That's the start. That's one of the steps on to becoming more about yourself, and then you build on from there, right?
Exactly. Any last words of advice for people trying to make friends and build their community?
Any last words of advice from people that would want to build more friends in the community? Just you gotta step out of the bubble that you are in right now, that personal space that you are in right now, or else you're just gonna be confined with the people that you are with right now and stuff like that. Yeah.
The only thing you have to say is don't lose hope, people. Sometimes the skepticism is normal, whether or not you would be able to build genuine friendships, especially online. And you know, there are also times when we are hesitant to reach out to friends who we don't talk with as much anymore.
And yeah, it's actually kind of ironic, you know, social media, technology, we're actually meant to connect, but there are times where we disconnect from people, you know. And one of the challenges that we have for you guys is to be the first one to reach out to a friend you haven't talked to for a while.
Or join any online event where you actually would be able to meet other people, and comment down below how you would do this challenge, and we'll read it and we'll encourage you guys. Maybe you'll even meet a new friend in the comments. Pop those unpopped kernels.
Anyways, guys, all our kernels have been popped for today. I enjoyed today's bag of popcorn. And to keep you guys updated on some highlights and clips, you can follow our Instagram at MaisConCorner.
Tune in for our next bag of popcorn. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.